Today's lesson is Elements of Art Color. My name is Miss Liberty and I'll be teaching the lesson today. Let me introduce you to our materials for today. So this is our finished project. I'm going to move that to the side. What you're going to need today for a project is a sheet of white paper. I have a couple of them, just in case we make a mistake or if I finish early and I want to make a second one. I also have a pencil. You could use a number 2 pencil or a weighted pencil, but I'm using a mechanical pencil. I have a yellow color pencil. For this lesson, I'm recommending color pencils or crayons because we're mixing the colors together on the paper. I have a blue color pencil. And I have a red color pencil. I also have a felt tip marker, an eraser, and a pair of scissors. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my utility mason jar. Get yourself a utility mason jar. Keeps everything neat. Today I also brought along my Elements of Art booklet that we made in Elements of Art Lesson 1 that this class is following. I'm going to do a quick review of this as well. Got my business card here, so if you guys want to follow me on YouTube, please subscribe, Liberty Pearson. All these art lessons will be edited and available for watching on YouTube shortly after they air on Facebook. Okay, so let's get started. And to get started, I'm going to start with a review with everybody of our elements of art. So specifically the first 3, and then, because we're doing the 4, the first 3 were our 3 dimensions. First dimension, second dimension, third dimension, 1D, 2D, 3D, and our 1D was our line. Different types of line, short line, long line, thick line, dotted line, zigzag line, curved line. We're going to be using a lot of curved lines today and some straight lines to build our guides. 2D, we talked about shape. We have geometric shapes like circles, squares, and triangles. We have organic shapes as well, and we're going to be using some organic shapes and also some curves, which will be spherical. Form is our 3D. That's where we take our 2-dimensional shapes and we give them some depth and some thickness to them. We're going to be working pretty 2D today. If you want to go in and add some shading to your petals afterwards, go ahead and do that, and you can add some form to your object. But today's lesson is going to be about color. Specifically, we're going to get a deep introduction into the different types of colors, like primary and secondary, and then warm and cool colors. We also did value, which we went over in our self-portrait, and space, which we covered in our cabin in the woods, and texture that we did with our tabby cat. So that was our elements of art. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to give you a moment to get your materials together. Take your time. Don't forget you need a pair of scissors here. So if you're not old enough to work with scissors, you may need an adult. You can use other cutting objects if you have them. You don't have to use scissors. If you know how to use some other tools, you can use those as well. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper and we're going to cut it into a square. And we're going to do this without using a ruler. So I'm going to put my extra sheets aside. So I'm going to take my sheet and I'm going to take this top right corner and I'm going to fold it diagonally to where this edge lines up with this edge, like that, all the way to the corner, right? See that top corner right there? And then this edge down here lines up right there. And you're just going to crease that right along. So you're going to press down, give some pressure. And so now this side edge of the paper has created a line down the paper here. And what I want you to do is cut this off. So you could take your pencil if you want and lightly trace the line that makes right there. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to end up cutting the whole flower out at the end anyway. You could do that. You could also, what I used to do is crease it along the edge right there. And then you can cut that, but I just made a line. I just made a light line. I don't know if you can see it, light line. And you're just gonna cut that off right there. I'm going to take this extra sheet of paper and put it in your scrap paper pile. Okay, so you should have a square by now. If you guys want to watch me do it again, I'm going to do it one more time. I've got my backup one already ready to go. So you got a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. You're going to take this top corner here, and this edge here, and you're going to move it so it goes along this edge here. So you're going to take it, you're going to bring it across like this. You're going to go all the way to the corner. You're going to bring this edge down here, lined up with that edge, so that they line up perfectly. And then you crease it along the line here. I'm going to go here, I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm going to follow the line that the paper edge makes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Go down. And cut that off. So now we have a square. Okay. So go ahead and level out your crease. You don't really need that. That's not relevant to anything right now. So you're going to take your square and you're going to fold your square in half, corner to corner. So these bottom corners are going to match that bottom, those top corners. And you're going to crease it like that. And you're going to turn it sideways. And then you're going to take the bottom corners, you're going to bring them up like that. So now you have a tiny square, right? If I were to open it, it'd open like this. So fold it in half and then fold it in half again. And do it one more time. So we're going to fold it in half. And you're going to turn it sideways and fold it in half again. Okay? So on the side that has all the points sticking out, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 flaps. Not this side that's got 1, or this side that's got 1, or this side that's got 2. This is your top side. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to take your pencil and you're going to do a quarter of a circle. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but what we're going to do is when we open this up, it's going to be a circle. So we got to cut a quarter of a circle because we just folded our square into quarters. Okay, so once you get that, remember it's just a quarter of a circle, so you go, it's an arched line from one side to the other. All right, so then we're going to cut that. And take that, put that in your scrap paper pile. So now I should have a circle. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time with you guys. I'm going to start from the folding. So we had our square. You should already be at the square step. We had our square. We folded in half. Turn that sideways. We folded in half again. We found our top, which has 1, 2, 3, 4 corners up at the top. We're going to draw an arced line that's going to go from one side to the other. That's our quarter of a circle, so that when we open this up, we get a whole circle, because how many quarters are in a whole? 4. How many halves are in a whole? 2. So we're working in quarters. All right, so it goes in our scrap paper pile. I'm going to put our scissors back up there. We're going to put our pencil back up there for now too. And when we open it up, we should have a circle. All right, so we have our circle. So now we're going to start to make some lines to show us where our petals are going to go. So do you know what a peace sign looks like? Where you get a circle, and then a line that goes to the middle, and two lines that go out, and a line that goes down the middle. Well, we're going to do the part where it's a circle, and it's a line that goes from the middle, and then two other lines that go out. And we're going to divide our circle into thirds. So how many thirds in a whole? Well, if you count, that's 1, 2, 3. And we're going to start our flower out with 3 petals. So we're going to need to divide it into thirds. So we have the center because we made all these creases, so we know where the center is. Go ahead and make a dot in the center of your circle. All right, so we're going to make a line that's not going to go all the way out to the edge, but it's just going to show us where it goes. And I suggest that you just go straight up the middle and make a light line that goes like that. So just a light line that goes like that. You can go all the way to the edge if you want. You'll erase it later. Anything you don't cover with coloring pencil or crayon, you're going to erase. And then we're going to try and figure out where thirds are. And we're going to go from here, we're going to go out like that. And then on this one, we're going to go out like that. And that's about thirds. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're making an organic shape. We're not working with exact geometry here. So these are our guides to show where our petals are going to go. So our first 3 petals, well, actually, let me interrupt. I'm going to give you guys some vocabulary before I move on to the color. So we have our color wheel, or our flower, broken up into thirds. So parts of elements of art color vocabulary. So first we are going to do, I guess it came back, red and blue together. We make violet, so we put those on top of each other. And that's violet. Violet. We also mix blue and yellow together, and we make green. Put down yellow. And we mix yellow and red together, and we make orange. All right, so our next set of petals are going to be our secondary colors. So those are going to be some arch shapes in between our 2 petals, but they're only going to go about as wide as these petals go. Don't go way out here with them. Kind of stay within the same space. So we're going to connect this petal to that petal. And then do it again. And then do it again. And so those are going to be, in between our red and our yellow, we're going to put orange. In between our blue and our red, we're going to put violet. And in between our blue and our yellow, we're going to put green. All right, next we need to do our analogous colors. And our analogous colors are the colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So it would be, if we had green next to yellow, the analogous color between green and yellow would be yellow-green, or the intermediate color, which is the color between the primary and the secondary color. So analogous colors are colors that are next to each other, and intermediate are the ones between the primary and the secondary. So we're going to go ahead and make the petals for our intermediate colors. So for those, we're going to make another arc that's going to connect our primary petals to our secondary petals. And those you can make really nice and big if you want. It's going to go connect to that one. And it's going to connect to that one. Remember, you're connecting each one to the one next to it. So you're connecting your primary to your secondary. till you go all the way around. All right, so those are in between yellow and orange, you have yellow, orange. In between orange and red, you have red, orange. In between red and violet, you have red, violet. In between blue and violet, you have blue, violet. And in between blue and green, you have blue, green. And in between green and yellow, you have yellow, green. So it's always named with the primary color over the secondary color. So now we get to do the fun part. We actually get to color this so it makes more sense than a bunch of pencils and letters on a sheet of paper. So first we're going to start with our primary colors. And I'm going to start with blue. But before I do, I want to talk to you guys about coloring pressure or pencil pressure. So for today's project, we're going to be layering colors on top of each other. So we don't want to go too dark in the beginning and not be able to see the second color we're putting on top over it. So you're going to be holding your pencil like this, like you hold chopsticks, because then the only real pressure is what you put down with your fingers. If you're holding it like this and you're pressing really hard, we're not really going to be able to layer it up. So we're going to want to start light and then make it darker as we go, not start out really dark, because we're going to be mixing. Just like I'm going to create purple in a little bit, I'm going to put my blue down, and then I'm going to want to put the red on top. And if I press really hard, I'm not going to be able to get this color mixing effect. So you guys ready to color with me for a while? Because that's pretty much what the next bit of time is going to be. So let's start with blue. So first we're going to do our blue petal. And so what I'm going to do is I will outline with thick lines the outside of my blue. But you don't have to outline. We're going to outline at the end. This just helps me stay within the lines. Hey Mom, did you have a nice walk with the dogs? You notice how I'm holding my color pencil, holding it sideways. You should be able to get some similar way to hold it with a crayon, but you're holding and you're shading with the side. You're not using the point. You're using the side. All right. So keep going over it until you get the darkness you want. This one we're only using blue, so you can go ahead and lay down as much blue as you want. I want to get it nice and rich. Okay, the next color I'm going to do is we're going to do red. And red's over here. I just outline it so that I can color within the lines a little better. That's how I work. And again, I'm using the side of the color pencil. I'm not making dark lines. And you go in and make it darker. We're only using red, so we can add all the red we want to this. Okay, next is yellow. All right, guys, and what are these three colors called? Do you remember? We've been talking about it. The three main colors that we mix together to make secondary colors and analogous colors and intermediate colors, what are they called? They're called primary colors. So there we have our three primary colors. There we go. All right, so next we're going to do our secondary colors, and our secondary colors are what we get when we mix our primary colors together, and that's why they're in between. So which one do you want to start with? You want to start with orange? Let's start with orange. So to make orange, we need to mix yellow and red. So in color mixing, because we're working with the lightest color, we're going to start with that color first, because the darker colors are brighter and darker, and you'll see if you try to put red first and then yellow. So just do the yellow first. So we're going to lightly, not really hard, we're going to fill in the orange space. Give myself a little outline. I could outline it again. Fill out my orange space with yellow first. Now we're going to build up. This isn't the first time we're going to apply the yellow to this space. Okay, so I put the yellow, and then I'm going to lightly go in with the red over the yellow. Now, do you guys see how light I'm doing it? If you need to practice, grab a piece of scratch paper. Remember all this paper we cut off? Grab a piece of scratch paper, shade in a little area yellow, and then shade in that area with some red. So that way you're not doing it too red, and then you won't be able to see your yellow. See, you don't want that to happen. So get your scratch paper. So I'm going in, I'm putting some red in, using the side of the pencil. It's more of a shading technique. All right, I got some red in there. If you're mixing paint, you're just mixing amounts of paint, and it might take just a little bit of red to get orange and a whole lot of yellow. Depends on the paint that you're using, but when you're blending color pencils, you kind of have to layer them in. So here I'm going back in with some more yellow. Is it starting to look orange to you? It's looking orange to me. You can start to press a little bit harder as you go in the second time around. Okay, so we can go back to that later, but right now I'm happy with that orange. You guys happy with that orange? All right, so what's next? Let's go ahead and do green. Since we're working with yellow, let's mix yellow and blue together. So again, yellow is the lighter color. So we're going to go in with the yellow first, and we're going to color in our green. Like I said, do it lightly at first. You can always build up. Can't really take away when you're doing this. All right, so I got my yellow down. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start to add the blue over the top, but lightly. Do you see how light I'm going? I need you to go that light. Now blue is a really dark color, so you want to go pretty light with the blue, at least in the beginning. And if you go outside the lines, that's fine. Like I said, we're going to outline it in the felt tip marker, so it's not going to be a big deal. to go back in there with the yellow, kind of blend it in. I could press a little harder now. Is it coming out? It's turning green. So this way you can see you can work with a limited amount of colors because they're blendable. So far I've made 5 colors out of 3, and I'm about to make a 6th color. Do you know what that 6th color is going to be? What is that 6th color is going to be? Here's a hint. It goes in between blue and red. So what color do you get when you mix blue and red? What is that secondary color? If you said violet, you are correct. So to get violet, we're going to mix red and blue, and because blue is the darker color in this instance, we're going to put our red down first. So we're going to go in there. Let me do my outline. While I'm going in here, remember lightly going one pass because I can always add on it. How's everyone doing today? Are you guys doing all right? Did you get some fresh air? You could do this outside if you have a phone or an internet connection that can take you outside. I'm sure it would be nice to color outside. I would take you outside with me, but then all you would hear is the wind. I don't have professional camera equipment. My camera would probably shake too. All right, so we added our red, so now we're gonna add our blue. So we're gonna go in with the blue and lightly, very lightly, because this is dark, I'm gonna add blue on top of my red. This is really just a coloring exercise and a skill exercise, just to get you to get comfortable with the sketching and shading and working with the colored pencils, get you even more familiar with the types of colors that there are. We're just dipping our toes in here with primary and secondary colors. We're going to talk about warm and cool colors. Here's a bonus question. If you could tell me in the comments one type of cool color and one type of warm color. So cool color first, warm color second. I'll give you some imaginary extra credit. All right, guys. So I added a little more red on top of my blue, and I think I'm going to give some more blue. So if you know cool and warm colors, I'll give you imaginary stickers. And there we go. So those are our primary and secondary colors. Now we're going to do our intermediate colors, which are the colors that connect our secondary to our primary colors. So there's another question for you. What intermediate color do I get when I mix yellow and orange together? I get yellow-orange. So this is where we get to go a little bit heavier into the technique with the colored pencils or crayons. So now we want our orange to look extra yellow. We want our orange to be a yellow-orange. So we're going to take our yellow colored pencil. I'm going to go ahead and give it an outline. And I'm going to shade darker. You guys see how dark it's going in initially? I'm really putting some pressure in there. I'm not going like this, but I'm using my thumb and I'm pushing down a lot of pressure there. Because I want the yellow to show, and the yellow isn't a very dark color. So there's the yellow. Really dark, really put it down. Extra. And now I'm going to do the red. I'm going to do the red very light because I want more yellow in my orange than red. But I still need red to make orange, so I got to put it in there. Go back, get in there with more yellow. Lots of yellow in my yellow orange. And do you see how this orange is more yellow than this one? Can you see it? Any more yellow? More yellow! More yellow! Yellow is a nice color, right? Makes you feel happy. Makes you think of the sun. What kind of color is yellow orange? Is it a cool color? Or is it a warm color? What do you think? What kind of color is yellow orange? So let's do the next one over. Let's do red orange. So it's going to be similar to the way that we did yellow orange, where we put way more yellow into our orange. And this one we're going to put more red. So we're still going to start with yellow because it is the lightest color. We're just not going to lay it down as heavy as we did last time. We still got to start with yellow. I might have to take a moment to sharpen my yellow color pencil. If you need a sharpening break, go ahead and step away and sharpen your pencils. All right. So now we're going to go in and put our red. We're going to be a little generous with the red, but not dark. That red is dark. It likes to throw a lot of pigment on the paper. So just start adding it in little by little. You don't want it as red as the red. This is red orange, not red. So there still needs to be some yellow in it. I'm doing a full coverage on the red. It's starting to look pretty red. But then I'm going to go back in and add some more yellow. Not pressing too hard. And some more red, because this is red orange. All right, so I got a little mistake. So we got the eraser out there. It can dull my mistake. I can't erase it, but it can dull it. All right, so next, how does that look? Do I need more red in there? Let's throw some more red in there. Okie dokie. So let's move on to our red violet. So our red violet is a very red violet. And since red is our lighter color out of the red and blue, we're going to start with red. So go ahead and shade in this area with red. And you can go a little bit darker here. See, I'm really bringing the color in. Because red is the star in the red violet. Really come in there. Bring in some red. Okay, so next we're going to add our blue. We're going to come in kind of lightly because that blue is really dark. It's almost like black. All right, not too dark or you'll make it just look violet. So we're going to come back in with the red. Go a little bit darker. The blue violet is going to be really dark because it's a heavy amount of blue. So we're going to move back over here and we're going to do blue violet. Still, we're going to lay down the red first because the blue is darker, but we're going to be fairly light with it. gonna put our blue in. We're gonna be pretty generous with the blue because this is our blue violet, and blue's the star here. So if you were mixing paint, you'd probably add just a little bit of red, very little bit of red to your blue, so that your violet is heavy in your blue tones. You see how it's not quite blue because we put that red in there. It's not quite violet because there's a lot of blue, so it's blue violet. And I'm just adding some more red just to blend it together. But you see how these two violets are different? This one has more blue and this one has more red, and that's kind of the in-between. Like I said, you can always come back and add to these. Let's say I don't feel like I made this dark enough. I can come in. Just make sure I'm adding equal amounts. More blue. This one has more red. Okay, what I'm going to do is take a moment. I'm going to sharpen my pencil because yellow is needed for the next two squares. And if you could tell me again, what are the 3 primary colors? Can you type those into the comments? All right. And what are the 3 secondary colors? Can you type those into the comments? Okay, so now I'm going to start with my blue green and my yellow green. So first let's get started with yellow. Very good, Janet. You got it right. The primary colors are blue, yellow, and red. So my yellow green needs to be very yellow. So I'm going to lay down some pretty dark yellow. I'm going to apply a lot of pressure. And get this whole section covered in yellow. Pretty dark, a lot of pigment. Cover a lot of the paper. And then I'm going to grab my blue and very lightly I'm going to add blue to this section. Very lightly because I mostly want yellow to be the star of this color mix. So I definitely need more yellow than blue. So there, add the blue in very lightly. And I'm going to come back in with yellow and add even more yellow because I'm making yellow green. Does that look more yellow than that green? Because that's our original green and this is our yellow green. And what type of color is yellow green? It is an intermediate color. All right, so next is our blue-green. Yellow is still a very light color compared to blue. So even though it's a blue-green, we're still going to start out with yellow to get our green. So let's take that yellow again. We're doing a lot of damage to our yellow, feels like. It's because yellow's so light. It's like working with white in painting. Everything wants to cover it up. If you just put a little bit of blue in your yellow, you've got green for days. But if you get a little bit of yellow in your blue, you can barely notice. Ooh, what? But too much yellow, I did too dark. It's okay. Let me just make up for it with the blue. So I went pretty heavy on my yellow. I didn't intend to do that. So I need to go heavy in with my blue. Blue-green used to be one of my favorite colors because it reminded me of the jungle. When I got a Crayola box, I could do jungle leaves with my blue-green, or it was called wasn't it called jungle green? Anyways, it just reminded me of big rainforest leaf colors. Rainforest has got to be such a cool place. Well, wet at least, right? Isn't that the way they call it, the rainforest? All right, and there's our blue-green. All right, guys. So just a little bit extra about color for you guys. We have complementary colors along with having cool and warm colors, because we already talked about cool and warm colors. So your cool and warm colors, you could kind of take the color wheel and go like this. These colors over here are our warm colors. Yes, yellow green can be considered warm, and red violet can be considered warm. And then you go over to this other side and we have our cool colors. So our blues and our greens and our violets, those are our cool colors. So you could almost split it down the middle. Warm colors, cool colors, warm colors, cool colors. Complementary colors are colors that are directly across from each other in the color wheel. Complementary colors make cool designs. So I once did an art piece that was yellow up against violet. Don't those complement each other very well? I also did another project that was red. This one might be familiar to you if you live in the United States. Red up against green, and those colors complement each other very well. So if you take your color wheel, you take your pencil, and you go directly across each other, a complementary color like blue and orange, or you can turn it a complementary color like green and red, or complementary color like yellow green and red violet, or yellow orange and blue violet. Also with your color wheel, you can identify the rainbow. So starting with red, you go counterclockwise. We have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and there you have your rainbow colors. So now we're going to finish up our project. Go ahead and put your pencils away. I'm going to put all my scrap paper away because we're going to finish our project. To finish our project, we are going to erase the extra lines we put out there. Go ahead and erase those extra lines. If you wanted to put a little leaf on your flower, now's the time. I just do an arced line like that, and an arced line like that, like that. Maybe I want 2 leaves on this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my green color pencil to color these ones in. I'm not trying to be too fancy. You could take your time if you want. But again, I'm going to outline this in felt marker, so it doesn't have to be perfect. All right. So you're going to get your extra sheet of paper and put it underneath, because your felt tip marker is going to bleed through. So you're going to outline your primary colors. Yellow, red, blue. I'm going to give my petals a little design. This stuff coming out of the center. Then you're going to do your secondary colors. Violet, orange, green. Give that a little design. Oh, it sounds like a baby took a tumble. Don't worry, her mom's there. She's just not happy. And then you're gonna outline your intermediate colors. Red, orange, yellow orange, yellow green, blue green, blue violet, red violet. We're going to give those some little designs. This is to just give a little pattern. And then we're going to do our leaves as well. So the outside and then the little vein lines on the inside. Yeah, baby's loud. Sounds like she probably stumbled on something. Okay, so we've outlined all of our petals, and now the final touch is we're just, if you have the dexterity for it or have an adult do it, take your scissors and you're gonna cut out either along the outline, or I'm gonna cut outside the outline so that there's a white halo around the outside. Just like that. And if you have more than one person in your house or more than one kid, you guys could all make one of these and you can put it up on the wall just in time for spring. You can make smaller ones. You could make ones that are all different tones and hues of the same color. So if you wanted to make a color wheel flower that was all just reds, and so light red, dark red, orange, yellow orange, red orange, red violet, that would be pretty. Either way, I thought this project might be fun to do since it's springtime. It's officially April. And you know what? I need some color to decorate my office. So I've already made one of these, and this is my second one. I can't wait to put them up. So yeah, it'll look fun. So hopefully you had fun too. Again, my name is Miss Liberty, which my students call me, or Liberty Pearson. This video will be available on YouTube, hopefully later this week. So hopefully you had fun. We covered primary colors, secondary colors, analogous colors, intermediate colors, complementary colors. Remember, just go across the color wheel. Cool and warm colors. Just cut your color wheel in half. This way. And you'll have a beautiful color wheel flower. Hope you guys enjoyed watching today. Thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you for the next video.